Today I'm going to be showing you how to fix a Synology DS1621 Plus. The issue we're experiencing is that drives 2 and 6 are the only ones that are detectable. Now, I purchased this unit off of eBay in broken condition, and that's what these sellers stated. Now, something that I noticed is that when we opened up the unit out of the box, the trays over here were misaligned. If you take a look, drives 3 and 4 are slightly crooked. Let's remove the drives and take a closer look inside. I'll remove 5 and 6 first. And we'll do 1 and 2 next. Okay, that was smooth. And this one's kind of stuck. There we go. Yeah, and I can see there's definitely some damage down here. All right, let's put this to the side for now. And let's switch over to the microscope. I want to inspect the hard drives a little more closely. I'm just checking to make sure that all the pins are present. And here I can see one actually is completely missing. It's broken off. So that's probably why this hard drive is not detectable. Let's look at the next one. All of the pins are present. If we look at it from an angle, that looks good. That looks good, I think. Well, I see that this pin is bent, but that's probably okay and not part of our issue. Okay, and last hard drive, pins are there. That looks okay. Okay, so what that tells us is 5 of the hard drives I think are in good condition. This one is for sure defective, so that's going to be one of the reasons that one of our hard drives is not detecting. All right, so this is connector number 1, and I think it's looking okay. Let's check out 2. 2 is supposed to be in good condition. Oh, 3 is not looking good at all. So it'll be hard for me to point at it while it's in the unit, but you can see that that pin right here is bent out. Same with this one and this one. Yeah, so we have a lot of damage there on connector 3. It's looking like connector 4 is also damaged. We'll take a closer look at them in a moment. This is 5. 5 actually looks okay. And this is connector 6, which also is supposed to be in good condition. And indeed, it does look okay. But 4 is actually completely ripped off of the back plane. Look at that. It's completely loose. Okay, let's go ahead and take the unit apart and we'll remove the back plane. If you have a Synology DS1621 Plus that you would like to send in for us to fix, we do offer the flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. Those are available on our website, which I'll link in the description down below. We've finally removed the backplane connectors. Yeah, we'll notice that there's definitely a lot of damage here. So connector 5 was stated to be non-functional, but it looks okay to me. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be working. This one is the one that's completely ripped off, and you can tell, obviously, a lot of the pins are not making contact. But from straight above, it actually looks okay. All right, let's see. This one we can see internally we have damaged pins, so obviously that one's bad. This one looks okay. Oh yeah, and this is connector 2. Yeah, that was a good one. So yeah, that makes sense. And this one is our last one. Also looks okay. So we're gonna be desoldering and removing the SATA connectors here. I'm gonna be adding a little bit of flux. And we're gonna start with the damaged one, connector 4. Adding flux a little bit everywhere. Let's turn on our fume extractor, and I'm going to add with my iron a little bit of solder to our ground pad on the end and all of our pins. I want to get really good flow. I know some of these might already be damaged, so we want to be very careful not to damage them further. Yeah, I can see there's some lifted pads. And now that we have had good flow, we're going to use our hot air in conjunction with the iron. And of course, we are using a hot plate below to preheat the area because we are going to be desoldering with plastic. And so we just want to make sure we can get as much heat into the joints without melting the plastic, so I don't have to breathe in a bunch of toxic fumes. Okay, there we go. All right, and that is looking really bad. Man, the reason I say that looks really bad is we have a lot of rip traces. We knew there was a good chance that would happen for connector number 4. Let's repeat the process for connector number 3 that does not have as much physical damage. I am hoping that we can salvage the rest and that only connector number 4 will be possibly damaged beyond repair, but we'll see. We might still be able to fix it. Well, the reality is, yeah, we can definitely fix it. The question is it worth it? Do we want to spend the time to try and fix it? All right, this one is not nearly as bad, but it's not great either. Yeah, there's something stuck here for some reason, so let's add a little bit more flux. Let's see if we can clean it up. There we go. But let's take a closer look at, let's see, this is connector 4. Okay, so this is connector 4. This is the one that was lifting off the board. We can see we have a silver pad here, which means that it just has solder on it. But over here, we can tell that there is no silver, there is no pad for the solder to adhere to, and that's because it got ripped right here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. So right here at the tip of my needle that I'm pointing with is where the trace ripped, and there should have been a full pad here that is missing, and that happened to both of these right here as well. But the difference with these over here is that these don't connect to anything, and as you can see, there are two traces over here that go down and to the left. There are no traces connecting to any of these. So these 4 over here are missing pads. That's a problem. But every single one of these is fine except for this one, actually. So it does look like this one does have a trace going to it, and that one will need to be fixed if we want to get this connector working again. Let's keep going down. That's fine. So again, this one's fine because we don't have a trace leading to it, and that's our ground, so that's the end of it. So it looks like, actually this could be doable. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 traces to fix. Let's look at the connector 3. This one, only one of them over here is ripped. Those are no connects, so that's okay. And that's also no connect, so that's okay. Which means that for connector 3, we only have 1 trace to fix. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna start with connector 3. I'm adding a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and we're going to try and remove some of that flux. We don't need to do a perfect job because we're going to add more flux in just a second. But I want to remove all the spent flux so that we can put new flux. And what we're going to do here is use our desolder wick. We're going to remove any remaining solder on these traces. And on our ground pads. We don't want any solder left over or very little. And the reason for that is otherwise our replacement SATA connector will not sit flat and flush against the board, and that'll be harder for us to then solder it down. Let's focus on the trace that's damaged now. And I'm gonna use this little Dremel tool. What we're gonna do is we're gonna try and expose the copper from the trace. And I don't need to do as much as I'm doing right now, but it's easier for me to expose some of the copper when the connector's not in there. And so I just want to give myself a little extra leeway in case I make a mistake and need to catch the trace a little further down the line. Okay, that should be fine. So this is our replacement connector. We can feed it in. So I like to typically start by soldering down my ground. Okay, and my connector is locked in. We'll scooch over here. And it was off screen, so I'll do it on screen this time. But as I solder down the ground, I also put downwards pressure on the connector to make sure that we have good connection and that it is locked in, which it is. I'm going to switch my soldering iron tip to a slightly smaller one for the rest. Let's add some flux now. If you have a Synology DS1621 Plus that you would like to send in for us to fix, we do offer the flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. Those are available on our website, which I'll link in the description down below. Let's add a little bit more flux. We'll do one last pass. And you know what? We're switching back again to our larger tip. Our larger tip is going to be able to have better heat distribution. It's going to put more heat on these pins faster and give me better flow. I did want to use the smaller tip at first just because it's easier to avoid bridging. But now that we've added the more or less perfect amount of solder to each pin, that shouldn't be a concern. And of course, as I say that, we have a bridge. Okay, let's pay attention to our trace over here now. So while I have the larger tip, let's go ahead and get better flow there. Let's get a little bit better flow here. I have a wire with some solder on it. Let's see. That looks soldered correctly. And that looks okay as well. All right, it looks like we have fixed that trace properly. Just want to make sure. No, it's not quite right. It's not quite right. That feels a lot better. So that clearly is soldered down the way that it should. We just need to make sure we're not shorting to ground. And that's, yep, a lot more robust. I have my multimeter in continuity mode. I have a beep when I have a short. Let's see. No beep, so that means I don't have a short to ground. That's good. I say that because I'm concerned that right there where I connect, we can see just a little bit of exposed copper. And so we just obviously want to make sure that this is not connecting and shorting to ground. Let's go ahead and give it a little cleanup. We're going to be very gentle with our brush. Remove as much of the flux as we can, loosen it up at least. Try and soak it up with the Q-tip. All right, we're going to do one last check at a steep angle. And we're gonna make sure that everything looks good, that we don't have any bridging. And it looks like we might still have bridging actually on those two pins. Oh, look at that. We still have some bridging going on. Add a little more flux. Now we still have a bridge. So I'm trying to physically separate them. Not doing a good job. After a little additional soldering work, I was able to clear the bridge. I did end up having to use some hot air, and I did melt a little bit of the plastic, as you can see, but internally the SATA port is going to be fine. Now, obviously these are no longer flat and flush, but none of these pins are connects, so it wouldn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and work on this one next. Same process. We're going to expose our copper traces. And I do have a little bit of excess solder left over on my pad, so same thing, we're going to use our desolder wick to remove some of that. Another quick clean. I'm going to get a little bit of solder on our traces. Just want to tin them. It'll make it easier when we are doing the trace repair. Okay, same process, we'll line up our replacement. Same on the other side. And same as before, we'll add our flux. So even to the rip traces, I'm adding a little solder to the pins to tin them as well. All right, we want to be extra careful with this one. We don't want to repeat from last time. So that one does connect. None of the other ones do. so we don't need to solder them. All right, we're gonna do one last pass with our slightly larger tip to make sure we have really good flow. Okay, and it looks like we have a pretty solid connection here. So we're going to use some slightly smaller wires. And I think we got that one on the first try. So that looks like it's soldered down right. I can't budge it right there. And it looks pretty well connected to the pin. So I think we're all set. We're just going to line it up. Let's see if we can get this to happen twice in a row. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got it. And I'm able to push almost the whole board over. So I know it's connected right. All right, this last one's not as pretty, but it works. And that was our last one. We have a little crossover here. Let's straighten that out. Straighten this one a little bit out as well. And that one. And there's a lot of flux everywhere. So let's go ahead and put our entire backplane connector into our ultrasonic cleaner to remove all that flux. And then we're gonna go ahead and live test those two connectors that we just installed. I've reinstalled the drives. I put SSD in drive slot number 6 as we knew that this one was a working drive. So we have all 6 are populated. Let's go ahead and see if all of them are detectable. Okay, so I actually had to remove the drives because it was asking me to log in with the credentials of the original owner of this NAS and drives, which of course I did not have. So I removed them. I put in only my SSD and now we're rebooting. Okay, let's see. So right now it says only drive 6 is installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert drive 1, 2, oop, that didn't work, 3, 4, and 5. I can hear them spinning up. And yeah, look at that. It looks like all of our hard drives are healthy and detectable. Okay, so the original owner stated only drives 2 and 6 were able to reliably boot. The rest were not able to. So far, it looks like we have a successful repair and that we only really needed to replace the 2 SATA ports for 4 and 5. We're gonna keep testing this, but to me, this looks like we have a successful repair. If you found the video helpful or useful, make sure to leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.